season openers can be tricky, and they really have been for South Carolina over the last few years, especially under head coach Shane Beamer. And for a time here on Sunday in Atlanta, it looked like the Gamecocks were going through a bit of a tough stretch throughout this game here against Virginia Tech. But at the end of the day, South Carolina was able to get the win, a 24-11 victory over the Hokies in the Aflac kickoff game to start the season 1-0. And that's the most important stat of today. There's a lot we're going to break down from this game. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of bad as well on offense, defense, special teams. But more importantly than anything, Carolina got the victory, 1-0 to start the year. And that's now 4 of 5 seasons for Beamer where the Gamecocks have won their season opener. So yes, while it may not have been the most pretty game for them, they were able to get the job done. And let's go ahead and start with the offense. Let's get the bad out of the way. The offensive line, I just didn't think they had a good game at all today, giving up 4 sacks. You look back at a lot of those sacks and the replays and stuff of the game on ESPN, it just was not pretty. It really felt like basic stuff kind of, and I say basic, and I'm not a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman, so for them on the field, maybe it's a little bit trickier what Virginia Tech was running, but you look at it, they're running some simple stuff like crossing each other with the defensive end and the D tackle just going by each other like this, and they get up a sack. South Carolina double teams on the left side of the line with the left guard and left tackle. The guy blows through, gets a sack, and then you see a linebacker come home free, hit Lenore Sellers, and then a defensive lineman breaks off a block and ends up cleaning up the sack on Sellers. So not very good for the offensive line today, but there was some good from the offense. I got the run game, I thought was all right. Rasul Faison, Oscar Attaway had their moments. Lenore Sellers had a decent game. I thought the opening drive of the game was the best we saw this offense look today. 7 plays, 75 yards to open the game on offense. And then later in the game, there was a lot of low points during the game from the second quarter to the third quarter. But the fourth quarter, Carolina's offense came through with the big play that it needed. And a really long, it was a 64-yard bomb to Nick Harbor from Lenore Sellers that gave South Carolina a 2-score cushion to go ahead and win this game by the final score that they did. So the offense was all right today. Again, the O-line play, we've been talking about it for a few years now. 41 sacks given up in each of the last 2 seasons, 4 more today. Not ideal. You just hope the group gets a lot better. It does seem like Marquis Anderson, who came in at left guard for Rodney Newsome today, did play pretty well. Shane Beamer did mention that after the game, that he was happy with the way he performed. So that'll be something to keep an eye on moving forward. Let's flip over to the defense. The defense lost a lot after last season. They only returned 4 starters. A lot of guys off to the NFL, out of eligibility. You know the story by now. The Gamecocks had a lot to replace. But give Clayton White, Torian Gray, I know Travian Robertson is not here today. He did get a game ball after the game, Beamer did say, even though he's not here with the team after that awful car accident they got into. Really hoping that Travian will be okay from that. The whole defensive staff, Sterling Lucas, all those guys deserve a ton of credit for the way they're able to just get the most out of players. Today, the defense, for all that they lost, for how much of a storyline it was going to be, if they can follow up what they did last season, despite having to replace so much, did not give up a single touchdown today. Kept Virginia Tech out of the end zone, only gave up 9 points, all coming on field goals. Really good performance for that group. 2 interceptions today, one by Fred Johnson early on in this game, and then Peyton Williams had the one that kind of sealed the deal in the late going in the fourth quarter. Also 2 sacks today, one coming from Dylan Stewart, who got a lot of pressure on quarterback Kyron Jones, and JT Gear had one as well. The flip side of the defense today being good, giving up only 9 points in total today. The secondary did struggle a little bit, I thought, in this game. I thought the D-line was all right. I thought the linebackers were really flying around, making a lot of plays. But the secondary did get cooked a little bit. Let's be honest, call it for what it is. They gave up 5 explosive plays today of 25 yards or more. So they lost a lot of the one-on-one battles out there in coverage. It's not ideally what you want to see. But again, that's a group that they lost Nicky Minwari. They lost O'Donnell Fortune. I think they returned a lot, and they got some good players coming in, obviously, that really did step up today. I think it's a group that will be better as the year goes along. And then lastly, let's get into special teams. Man, Vakari Swain had the play of the day for the Gamecocks. Keep in mind, earlier in this game, he nearly muffed a punt really badly. He dropped a punt that came his way early on in this game. South Carolina managed to recover it, but again, that was pretty bad. And Jalen Kilgore was supposed to potentially be the punt returner for the Gamecocks. That was his role last year, as well as playing that nickel spot for the Gamecocks on defense. But he was supposed to be playing that area today, or that spot. And Beamer did say after the game that he had been dealing with a little bit of a hamstring injury, so Swain got a lot of the reps this week in practice, and that allowed him to go out there and be the punt returner. And boy, did he come through in a massive way today. Late in the game, early on in the fourth quarter, Virginia Tech is forced to repunt after an illegal formation, and like Beamer said after the game, nothing good ever happens when you have to go ahead and re-kick. And South Carolina, I mean, this was a really close game early on. It was 10-8 in the fourth quarter. Not a lot of scoring going on. Swain takes back a 57-yard punt return touchdown. Broke out of a lot of tackles, made some really good cuts. There was one tackle near the goal line here that he just dove towards the end zone, got in. Play of the day for the Gamecocks, one that really turned the game around. And I think special teams in general just, they ran out all new guys with specialists today. I think Mason Love did a pretty good job. A few of his punts early on weren't great, but I think later on in the game, had a few punts go for over 50 yards at a long of 55 today. You feel pretty good about that. William Joyce, fifth-year senior, getting the start at place kicker today, knocked home his only field goal today. And then Max Kelly was handling kickoff duty, so Virginia Tech had 3 kickoff returns today. So overall, I think this was a pretty good game for South Carolina. Not great, not terrible. Again, if you lose this game, you feel a lot worse about how everything went. But I think you can live with the fact that you can correct these things and you're 1-0. You feel a lot better. That plane ride home for South Carolina is so much better knowing that they are in the win column to start the year and everything they have. The season does not get derailed by one loss today. They got the win, and that's the most important thing. So South Carolina will return to Williams-Brice Stadium next Saturday for its home opener against South Carolina State. Kickoff will be at 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus as well as SEC Network Plus. So we will be there. I will be there, of course, providing all live coverage and updates throughout that evening. So once again, South Carolina picks up the 24-11 win here in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium over Virginia Tech. And that is going to do it for now. For GamecockCentral.com, I'm Jack Veltri.